Hello, and welcome to Futon Talks, the podcast where we take a look back at things that we may or may have not have missed, and we talk about them. I am your host, Christopher Midling, joined by my best friend,
Josh Castro. I thought you were going to say I was a co-host.
I tricked you there.
You pulled a tricky on me. I liked that. I am that though, and you are my best friend. Look, this is such a happy moment to start with.
Yeah.
That's good.
We're
it
a
might not be so happy
podcast.
later. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're a lighthearted podcast. That's very true.
How are you, Josh?
I'm fantastic. I'm doing really good. My mic is trying to run away from me here for some reason.
Oh no.
But I'm really good. We just moved into our new apartment. This is the first time we've recorded remotely. So We're sorry for any hiccups you guys may hear, and we're also sorry for all the hiccups that have already occurred and that you have not heard. So it's been a wild time trying to make this work. It'll be good though. It'll be good. But yeah, things are great. How are you doing? Has anything changed?
Okay. No, not really. Just working and playing games, writing notes, getting things ready,
Very good. I don't know if I've written any notes for this. I just finished it a day or two ago. Right now I'm working on the platinum, and I think I've only got a couple hours left, so I'm pretty fresh off of my experience with Miles. Oh yeah, that's the game we're doing. Did we say we were doing Miles Morales?
No, but
everyone forget that I said that.
Forget
it's not
for
ready.
5 seconds. Today we're talking about Spiderman, Miles Morales.
What?
The cross-gen / next-gen game.
Oh yeah,
for the PlayStation 4 and 5.
Oh
from
yeah,
Insomniac.
The game that Chris missed by maybe hours, and that I missed by approximately a month. But
yes,
maybe it's not us that missed it. Maybe it's you guys. Maybe you guys are the ones who aren't dropping $600 on a new system so you can pay for another $50 game.
Bunch of losers.
Maybe it's you guys, idiots. You guys don't neglect your wives like we do, idiots. So we love our wives. Please don't.
Yes,
don't sue us.
So, like you said, I played this game after a few hours after having the console. My first game in Platinum, I think most people had it, was Astro's Playroom or Astrobot, whatever it's called.
Astro's Playroom. I think it's Astro's Playroom.
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of Astros type of games. So.
I think there's only one more. It's like Astro's Mission Saves, Astro Rescue Mission.
You're right.
Or is there another one? I feel like he's been around for so long, but I think he's actually pretty new. I think he was created with the VR, right?
I think it was created with PS4. With the touchpad.
Really? Oh, maybe you're right. I don't remember.
Oh, it's been like 8 years.
All you Sony executives out there, hit us up. Tell us when Astro was created.
Because we're not going to look it up.
No, it's too much work.
So, got the platinum in that, like most people, I think.
Yes.
And then jumped right into this game. And
you swung right
wowie zowie. It's fun. It looks good. But since you picked this game up, like you said, so it's like a couple months later. What are your initial thoughts?
What are my three words thoughts?
Yeah, what are your how would you describe this game in 3 words?
Okay, this is going to be controversial, but one of my words is certainly meh. And then another word would probably be wowie, because it's gorgeous.
Okay.
Yes. And then, I don't know, maybe, oh man, so I said meh, wowie, and then maybe knockoff. I don't know. Not knockoff. What's the right word? What's the right word? Don't worry, you can edit me. What's the right word? I would say wowie. and
Zowie?
Wowie and Second Hand.
Second Hand.
You know,
Okay.
like when you, or like a hand-me-down. That's what it feels like. Or like a little brother. I just don't know how to describe it. It's just, I think, and I'll kind of spoil, after you listen to my next sentence, you can just close out of the podcast because I'm going to spoil all my feelings. Pretty much, the way I feel about this game is that it is, there's areas where it's better than the original, but I feel that overall, it fails to be significantly better than the other Spider-Man. Specifically in character and story. Because I think the combat is better enough to justify a game. Like, I think this game is justifiable simply because the combat is better and a lot deeper, and the animations are insane, and it looks beautiful. But when it comes to Miles, and when it comes to the story of the Tinkerer, and the story of the Prowler, I just think we've seen the same stories done better in movies, and we've seen them done better in the last Spider-Man game. So I don't know. That's just my personal feelings. Granted, I may have been, like, everyone needs to understand that I'm in the process of platinuming it, so I'm not as keen on it as maybe I would have been like 3 days ago.
I do agree that the platinum process, any platinum that requires you to beat the game again just for especially a bronze trophy.
I know, it's so insulting.
It sours the experience for sure.
And so that may have something to do with it. Plus it forces me to watch the cutscenes I don't want to watch, and those are the stories. So but I did feel this way during the game, probably to a little bit lesser extent, but I did feel this way. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I do not think you agree. Just from our previous conversations about Miles.
My 3 words.
Oh yeah, tell me your 3 words.
Smooth, fast, and probably a meh or halfway. I don't know.
Glass half full. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like very middle of the road. Like, I didn't mean to sound as negative as I did, but it's just like a C. Does that make sense?
It's very middling, you would say.
Ooh, look at you. Look at you.
Look at me. So yeah, I do agree. The combat in this game it's a good enough improvement to justify another game.
Totally.
And I think this game looks better than the other Spider-Man, even though it's just like a halfway. It's like a Spider-Man 1.5, so I guess it should look a little better.
I think it looks significantly better, though. And I think I know what you're trying to say. It looks good enough to justify being a sequel.
Yeah, you know? And I don't know how you want to start this, because I'm basically just going to start, I don't know, just going through this game.
Oh, we should also probably say spoiler warning, because this is actually a new game.
They're clicking on it. They know what they're doing.
Also, not that this is going to be out like anytime soon. This one's probably going to go up in like May. So it won't be new by then anyway. But
it's fine.
But yeah, you know, if you haven't played the game, I'm not sure I'd even recommend playing it.
Really?
This is the thing. I feel like this game is going to be, I don't know. I don't know. Like, is it going to be bundled with the next one? Maybe I'm wrong. Like, people have said this, and I know that a lot of like really big people that I really respect have said like, no, it's not an expansion. It's not a big DLC. But it feels like a big DLC, especially in my opinion when it comes to the story. It's just.
So let me say this. When I platinumed this game, I really liked how condensed and short it was, and how compact it was as an experience. And then I went back to Spider-Man Remastered, and I was almost overwhelmed with how much stupid, tedious crap was there. Like, how much extra fluff was there, and the thought of getting that platinum again was just, I was like, no. I'm not going to do this again because it's too long for that experience. And I feel like Miles Morales' biggest strength is how short it is. And it leaves you wanting more.
I agree with that. And I guess when I say that it feels like a DLC, I'm not as much referring to its length, because I've spent 20 hours with the game and I haven't finished it. What I mean is, like, it feels not fleshed out. You know how sometimes a DLC is like a tacked on thing? And where it's like just not as good as the original. It's like the ideas that were cut during the development process because they couldn't make them fit in, right? So to me, that's what it feels like, where it's almost like it's what they wanted to do as like an epilogue for the game. But I just don't feel like it ever got perfectly fleshed out. Maybe, but I think it's just me, because I think that I just don't like the characters. I just don't like the story.
So, did you play the Spider-Man DLC?
I played, I think, one of them. I didn't finish it. I heard they weren't very good, though.
They're pretty good.
Oh, good.
And you should definitely go back and try them out, because those 3 DLCs are the bridge between that game and Miles.
Oh, okay.
And like his training and stuff. And I almost feel like they could have just, if they extended the beginning of this game more and had like the training sequences, like you see in like we just talked about Into the Spider-Verse, when Miles is learning how to web swing and the thwops and whatnot. Maybe if this game had that a little more, and a little more chemistry between Miles and Peter, it would have definitely helped it. Because I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt it to have more resonance that way. You know, it's just more what's the word?
Resonance?
And that's not the right word, but I guess so. It make the characters resonate more, and
more
maybe
relatable?
relatable. Thank you.
Yeah.
And have that beginning be more of a subtle, like, I know Miles and Peter's relationship at this point, but, you know, at the beginning of this game, it just starts with a chase.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
It is fun.
But you don't know, it's kind of just rushed a little bit. And that might be a good word for one of the 3 words is rushed. But maybe they're wanting to because they have the sequel in the works already. So
maybe
coming up on the horizon.
And horizon. And sorry, by the way, if I don't sound like I understand what I feel. I'm kind of finding out. You know, I'm finding myself as we talk about this, finding my feelings for it.
You're still playing the game.
Yeah, you know, I'm still in the process. Granted, I beat the story 2 days ago, but for me, it's like, it just feels like they're trying too hard. Like Genki. I do not like Genki.
Okay.
Genki's annoying.
How about this? Let's start going through the story.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to give a brief synopsis of the entire story really quickly? Okay. Yeah. Because I'm sure none of this makes sense to anyone. So, for those who haven't played the original Spider-Man, it ends with Peter, who is like a 26, 25-year-old. He's kind of he's along in his life, you know? He's Chris's in my age almost. Anyway, he's like 25, 26, and Miles had helped him in his adventure previously. And Miles inadvertently gets bit by a spider, and it's implied that Peter trains Miles in between. So the game starts with Miles and Peter meeting up to track a shipment of raft prisoners. Anyways, Rhino's in there, things go wrong. Rhino gets captured by this corporation named Roxxon, and they are integral to the story. But right after all that happens and you take down Rhino, Peter tells you that he has to go to Europe for like a month or something with MJ because he's going to be her photographer. And so you have to hold down the fort there in Manhattan and New York. So you as Miles then go about your normal Spider-Maning stuff, right? And it's kind of a stressful time for you as Miles because your mom is running for city council, right?
Yeah.
That seems too
like that.
small. Just city council? Congresswoman, maybe? She's running for a political office, right?
Mayor? I don't know.
I feel like mayor might be too big. But anyways, I agree. It's something like that. She's running for mayor or something. And one of the big obstacles for her as mayor is a company called Roxxon, the one that caught Rhino, because they're pretty much moving into neighborhoods and trying to push people out.
Into Harlem and
and she doesn't like that. She doesn't want her people being pushed out. Anyways, so you like go to your mom's rally and there's this group there of pretty much terrorists. I mean, that's what they are, but they're like a gang is the idea, and they're called the Underground, and they are insufferable. And I don't know if I think maybe they were meant to toe the line. Okay, I'll give my opinion later. Underground is there. Underground destroys the rally. Miles' mom gets hurt, and Underground is apparently trying to attack the Roxxon people there. And this company Roxxon, remember, they're moving into Harlem, all that. They're like super armored. They're almost like Silver Sable's people from the last game.
Pretty much exactly.
They're literally the same. They use the same weapons. They do everything the same because they didn't want to make something new. So, which I understand. We don't have a long development cycle here. But anyways, they are fighting them, and then there's a big explosion on the Manhattan Bridge, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so you swing over there, and Underground is trying to rob Roxxon of a shipment of this stuff called Newform, which is supposed to be a clean energy that can power like all of Manhattan for 12 years. It's like ridiculous. Sorry, just taking a drink. And so they're trying to rob them of this Newform. You don't know why. But anyways, in the process of trying to fight off the Underground, you realize that your old friend, your old flame, one might say, is Finn, and she is the leader of this group of the Underground. They call her the Tinkerer, which is a really lame villain name, but that's okay. So you realize that, and then pretty much the next section of the game is you trying to get close to Finn so you can get close to the Underground and understand why they're stealing Newform and all that jazz. Turns out that Finn is wanting to destroy and get the Newform because her brother, whose name is Rick, he was the one who invented Newform, and it started making him sick. So he tried to destroy it or make sure that everyone knew, but Roxxon killed him, essentially, so that the word couldn't get out, so that he couldn't be a whistleblower. Anyway, so ever since then, it's been her goal to destroy Roxxon and to avenge her brother, right? And then to also get rid of Newform because she knows it's going to make people sick, like it made her brother sick.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after all that happens, you go and you have various conflicts with Finn and with Roxxon, and ultimately what happens is she is going to blow up their biggest reactor, and it's going to destroy all of Harlem. And you're just trying to get her to kind of come to the light side, you could say, and let go of vengeance and destroy Roxxon in another way that doesn't blow up an entire city.
Yeah.
And eventually, at the end, you kind of stop her, her heart changes, and she sacrifices her life to save Harlem. Because you take the energy from the reactor into yourself, and whenever you do that in the game, because you do that several times, you eventually kind of explode, and you let all the energy out in a venom attack. Anyways, you're not very strong when that happens, so she holds you, she picks you up, and she flies into the sky with you, and you explode in the air, and it kills her. So yeah, and then the game ends. Is that a good synopsis? Does that make sense, Chris?
That made sense.
Okay, good. So that's the story of the game. Spoiler warning. It's done.
Good placement.
It is finished.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go from there? Because that's what happens. Do you want to just talk about the characters? Any moments that stick out to you? How do you want to do this?
I was thinking maybe we could just run through the big moments in the game that stood out to us and kind of discuss them, because as short as this game is, those moments are kind of few and far between.
I agree. And I would say a lot happens. Even though it's a relatively short game, I'd say it's 5 hours, 4 to 5, even if you're running quick. Mm-hmm. But a lot happens in this game.
So let's just start with that first Rhino chase. Like you're starting the game as Miles, and you see Peter drinking his coffee upside down.
Oh yeah.
And then they get the call for the Roxxon chopper to kind of just be there. What's the word?
I don't know. What do you mean? Like for them to be there, for the chopper to be there, or what do you mean?
Aren't they supposed to be like guarding the chopper,
I
making
think
sure
so.
that they get?
I don't think they're
Or were
even
they-
supposed to be there. I think they're just guarding it in case something goes wrong,
Oh,
which inevitably it does.
yeah.
Which, can we talk for a minute about how like bad the police are at being police in this game?
Yeah, they're really bad.
Why did they fly him in a helicopter? What? Like, what was the logic? Why don't they just like keep him where he was? Obviously, he was secure. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. It's just
What was Roxxon's purpose in capturing him in the first place?
make Super Rhino. I don't know. I
Red
suppose
Rhino.
maybe they just thought like that he almost killed Miles, so he'd be useful later
Like a
because they
wait,
knew
so
he
it's
might be
the
a
cops
problem.
that capture.
No,
that
it's
have
Roxxon
him.
that capture Rhino.
No, I mean like in the very beginning, like before he breaks out. Is that the police?
Oh yeah, that's the police.
Okay, just making sure.
So in the beginning, they've round up finally all the prisoners that got out during Peter's game,
Okay.
and they're finally moving them all back into the raft at once.
Okay. Thank you. That is good to know.
Yes.
But how do you feel about this first big chase scene?
It's great. It's good Spider-Man, you know? Miles feels awesome to control. I love his animations, the way he swings and it almost feels out of control. It's just
Mhm.
awesome. Miles' animations are so good. And this is when the Venom powers are introduced. And I think that the Venom powers add a lot of needed depth to the Spider-Man combat.
Depth and simplicity.
Yeah,
At the
interestingly
same
enough.
time. It's like streamlined
Mhm.
because it's only like the 4 pretty much move sets you can do,
Yeah.
or 3, or maybe it's like you have the Venom jump.
Oh, I think there's 4. There's the dash,
There's like-
the punch, the jump, and the smash.
And
And
Smash.
the Mega Blast. So there's 5.
Yeah. And the game also cut, thank goodness, the gadgets down to only 4.
Oh, thank you. I do not like
hated
the gadgets. I used
There was too
two
many of them. Yeah, me too.
Which ones
Me
did you
too.
use in the original game?
I think, well, because like the shooting the webs counted it as a gadget for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I used that one. I used the super shooter or whatever, and maybe the web bomb. I think those were the only ones I used.
Pretty much same. Yeah, I just used the normal web shooters and the Mega Web.
Mhm.
That was it. That's all
And
I ever
pretty
used.
much used all of the gadgets in this game. Maybe not so much the invisibility.
Oh, you didn't use the invisibility.
Not too much.
That's interesting.
Only in like maybe some story segments.
When it comes to the invisibility, we have a lot to talk about in regards to stealth, because this game pushes stealth a lot more than the last game did, which makes sense narratively.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just skip right to that. How did you embrace stealth?
No.
Me either.
I mean, it's like I did and I didn't.
The thing is this, it takes so long, and that's just how stealth is, but like literally a stealth encounter will take you 30 minutes, but the same encounter will take you 5 minutes if you just fight them. So it's like, why would I wait?
Pretty
Especially
much.
once you unlock like the Mega Blast,
Mhm.
like literally I'll just be swinging through and there's a crime in process. I'll drop down in the middle of them, use the Mega Blast, and that crime's over. That's it. It has to move on. like I just never even bothered, especially after I got about halfway through the game. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to bother with this. Just fight me. And I just fought them.
Back to the mall though,
Sorry. Yeah.
or to the chase. I love that when Rhino jumps into the mall and you have to swing inside. That is one of the coolest scenes
It's cool.
in like a video game, you know. It's so smooth and it's so fast.
It's so cinematic.
And it looks great. Yeah, it's so cinematic. And
I like when you save the baby.
Yeah, when you save the
That's
baby
pretty
in
cool.
slow motion. When I first played it, I immediately thought that Miles was going to throw the baby at Rhino. Because it just looked like he was going to, like...
It's the same buttons.
He picked it up, and he turned around as if he was going to throw it.
Eat this, Rhino!
And I forgot who pointed it out to me. It might have been Jarrett or Aspen, but when Rhino swings, he's swinging on the Insomniac sign.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. But I really like this part, and then like you jump on Rhino and you ride him for a little bit through like J. Jonah Jameson's news broadcast.
I love J. Jonah Jameson so much.
Yeah, in a Santa Claus outfit.
I love Jared so much. Jared!
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh,
I had a question, by the way, about Rhino.
Yeah, what? Yeah,
so there's a trophy for breaking a certain amount of things when you go through the mall. I think it's 15 crits.
Is it 15? Okay.
Yeah. But tell me, did you get that on accident your first run through?
No.
I didn't.
I got it on my second playthrough.
Me too. Because I'm not insane or bad at controlling Rhino.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I saw that like most people did it on their first try. I was like, who's trying to hit everything? I was like...
Trophy hunters, probably.
Darn trophy hunters. But I was surprised. Because I was like, I did not do that. I was like a total accident. Anyways, beside the point. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
Interjection.
But that part kind of... The good parts of this like whole segment kind of end after the chase sequence. Because when the combat is put back into the game, it's kind of just old Spider-Man again, and you just tap the square button and the X and triangle buttons, and you do this fight with Rhino after he pummels Spider-Man into a wall.
Which we have to talk about villains being able to defeat heroes they probably shouldn't be able to. Like, I was like, I get it, but like, Spider-Man beat Rhino like 3 times in the last game.
He
pretty
beat
easily.
Who did he beat? Was it Scorpion?
He beat all the Sinister Six. Electro.
Vulture at the same time.
He beat Scorpion and Rhino at the same time. He beat Electro and Vulture at the same time. He beat Doc Ock. He beat like the only time he's ever defeated is when all 6 of them fight him at once. And then Rhino just kind of
shows up when Spider-Man has help. Spider-Man just gives up.
I know. I was like, it's just not very Spider-Man. But I get it. I get it.
I guess.
It's the narrative. I get it. But like, why didn't they just wait for Spider-Man to go to Europe and then
I don't know.
have Miles fight him and like have Genki get impaled by his horn? I don't know. Then I wouldn't have had to have Genki's jokes for the rest of the game. Excuse me.
Yes. We'll get to that.
But yeah, I thought it was odd. I thought that was odd. And there's other times in this story when Miles is defeated by a particular character, and I'm like,
How?
Why
would you let this happen?
How did this happen? Anyways.
But
But it heats up a lot. Once he gets his Venom powers, the combat totally changes.
Oh,
but that
for
first
sure.
time is not very fun.
So after the fight, we get introduced to Jeff Keighley.
Yes.
AKA Simon Krieger.
Dude, he is like Jeff Keighley.
He looks just like Jeff Keighley, or maybe a little Justin Timberlake.
I was going to say, it's like if Jeff Keighley was a Backstreet Boy. You're that Jeff on your next video game awards. You're going to dress like Simon Krieger.
Who dresses like Jeff Keighley.
That's right.
And we get introduced to him, and he is voiced by Troy Baker.
Is he really?
He is.
Gosh darn it, Troy.
And I heard it the second he started talking, and it upsetted me so furiously. I was
like, in retrospect, it is obvious that he is Troy Baker.
It is obvious, yes.
But I liked him. How did you feel about Simon Krieger as a villain?
Yeah, he's a great villain. He's like a
He's a fun guy.
He's a smart dude, you know.
Kind of like a playboy almost, like a playboy,
Yeah, a
smart
little bit of a
guy,
playboy.
heartless, but he's like an executive.
Yeah, very
I kinda
charismatic
like him.
and
Yeah, very charismatic.
but really douchey.
Very douchey. Like a frat boy.
So, yeah, he's more like a frat. He's like a frat boy Iron Man.
He's like if Jeff Keighley was a frat boy. I don't know. But he's good. I like him.
Yeah, he's cool.
I thought he was an effective villain. Like,
yes.
Granted, he's an effective villain in like a Marvel villain kind of way. You know what I mean?
I almost wish he was the main villain.
I would rather him have some purpose. Because I guess who's the actual villain? Tinkerer?
Technically,
because I feel like he is technically the villain, even though you don't have a final
he's the
fight with
mastermind. I would have liked to have him like in a mech suit and you had to fight him or something.
I could dig that, but I guess it makes more sense for his character to not get his hands dirty at all. Kind of like Norman Osborn when he's not being the Goblin, but
when he's not being Robert Redford.
Yes. But yeah, I like him. I think he's cool. I think he obviously doesn't have a lot of depth, just because compared to like Doc Ock, Doc Ock is a villain and a character that has lots of depth for a lot of reasons. As a relationship, it's not like Miles has a relationship with Simon, but he's effective in being intimidating and charismatic and fun. I like him. He was a fun guy.
Yeah. And so Roxanne just take Rhino away,
which should have been it should have been like a sign. Like this isn't good.
Why is this private company taking away this humongous villain?
Who knows, but they do it. So
they do it. And for you, like, what would be the next big moment that stood out to you?
Let me think. Cat Bodega. No, that's the end of the game, but that's the best part of the game. I would say probably something to do with Finn. Getting to meet Finn at dinner, but that's pretty, How do you feel about let's just talk about Finn and Miles' relationship real quick.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Because at the chronological, I feel like I missed things. But I feel like we'll cover everything this way. So with Finn and Miles, how do you just feel about their relationship? Do you feel it's strong?
Awkward. It's very awkward.
In a charming way, or is it just awkward?
It's a little bit of both. There's like, maybe not, because they pepper in the little flashbacks throughout the game where they're best buddies and they're with her brother Rick hanging out, but Finn as a character, I think Finn's the problem more so than Miles is, I think. And that it's probably effective because we don't know this at the time, but she's a villain and she is plotting on stealing and destroying the new form reactor from Roxxon. But as the player and as Miles, we just see her as the old friend we haven't talked to in a year.
Question, by the way, about that.
Yeah.
When did you suspect that she was the villain?
I mean,
because you find out relatively quickly.
So we before the game came out, we knew about the Tinkerer as the villain, pretty much, right? Yeah. And as soon as she showed up, pretty immediately, I knew that. Oh, you've been AWOL for a year, and now you just show up, and you're gonna fix our electronics, and
yep. The second she fixed the doorbell, I'm like, oh, you're the Tinkerer. This game is very predictable.
Yes.
Nothing happens that you couldn't see from forever away.
From years away.
Yeah, and granted, I guess, but the thing is, the original Spider-Man did catch me off guard a couple times. So I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, it feels awkward, but not necessarily in a fun way, because you could probably call the relationship between Peter and the detective. What was her name? I forget her name. I loved her though. I thought she was hilarious. In the first game, you're always talking to this police woman.
I don't want to say something that sounds racist.
That's right. Stay quiet, buddy. But how about you Google her name while I talk about this really quick so we can be correct. But you have a relationship with this police woman and you talk to her all the time. And I think this is also an analog for Genki, where the relationship between Peter and that police woman whose name we can't remember is like perfectly awkward, where it's the funny awkward, where it's like obviously they don't always see eye to eye, but when Peter says an awkward joke, it's funny. And
Watanabe,
there we go. I know it's Watanabe, dude.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You gotta lean into it. What's her first name?
Yuriko?
Iriko? I don't know how to say it. Anyways,
Yuriko?
Officer Watanabe. Anyways, so you're with the relationship with Officer Watanabe. The relationship with you and Officer Watanabe is like awkward, but it's fun.
Uh-huh.
And whereas with Miles and Genki and Miles and Finn, it's just awkward. Like, I am not convinced in the slightest that Genki and Miles are actually friends. At all. Like,
Genki's just
Genki...
there for the ride.
Genki's like just this like loner that Miles, for some reason, is like allowed to live in his house. Like, they're not actually friends. I never felt like they were. And kind of the same with Finn, where like they tell you they have a relationship, but I don't feel like they have a relationship. Does that make sense? But I like Miles, and I like the way Miles interacts with people in the neighborhood and with his mom. I feel like they have a relationship.
I think Miles works best with his family members.
Yeah.
And the most effective story moments in this game involves his family.
I agree
Or
with that.
/ Peter Parker.
Yes. I love Peter.
Yeah.
I love you, Peter.
How do you feel about the new face?
Stop it. I want the old face back. I don't like it. He looks like a 12-year-old. I liked this Peter because he's a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Not that actually has any bearing on why I like it. I just don't like it. I feel like the face is too small for the body. Like, he's like this ripped dude, and this face is like a little child's face, and it is disturbing, and I don't like it at all.
I can't agree with you and disagree with you at the same time.
I understand. I miss old Peter. I miss him.
Yeah. So going from Finn, how about Aaron Davis, your uncle, which you get introduced in this game? He's just like a construction worker guy.
Yeah.
Working on the subway train and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel that their relationship played out and developed?
You know,
because I was just going to say, because you obviously soon find out that he is the Prowler, and he is actually working for Roxxon and Simon Krieger to spy on Miles, or Spider-Man.
You know, I'm not sure that this story, like, spoke to me super well. I liked it, though. And I think it's probably the best story in the game. But let me pitch you something real quick, okay? Let me give you a little pitch.
Pitch
a little
it
slow
to me really
ball.
fast. Oh, really slow.
No, not fast. Calm down, okay? I want you to marinate in this. So, imagine that instead of coming up with all this Tinkerer stuff, which may be in the comics, maybe this is a huge deal in the comics, I don't know. But why didn't they just have Peter, like, go to his dad's, like, 1-year death memorial, and someone talks to him about a case file that he was hot on the heels of, and it's the Prowler. Mm-hmm. And then the game is actually about Miles tracking down the Prowler. And, like, fighting the Prowler, realizing it's his uncle, all that jazz, you know. And then both of them work together in the end for something, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel like this game needed to be about Jefferson Davis and Uncle Aaron.
100% agree with you.
Because the best part of the game is the end when you're going and getting the postcards and listening to your dad.
Dude. Yes, I was going to say that.
100%. Best part of the game. No stops. everything else is bad comparatively. Like everything else is fine, but compared to the end, it's really powerful. When you're Miles and you're listening to these things of your dad, think if you could have been like following clues your dad left for you to find the Prowler, and it's this family story, and it's, I think it would have been a lot more effective. Because the Tinkerer is what makes it fall flat. And the Underground, because they're stupid.
The Underground is like, I don't know, it's just these angsty teenagers who just love the color purple for some reason.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
I hate when games feel like they need to make factions. Like, what if it was just the Tinkerer as the Tinkerer?
Why couldn't she just be a person?
A single person.
Or you know what it reminded me of? I didn't actually play Borderlands 3, but I saw a lot of coverage for it because it was, relatively controversial at the time.
I did not play it.
And have you heard about like the main antagonists? They're like two twins and they're Twitch streamers.
Yes.
That's what it felt like to me.
It does feel like that.
Where it's just like...
These, the Underground is a bunch of TikTok users.
Yes, exactly. And how do you feel, speaking of the color purple, how do you feel about the Danicast?
I
hate the Danicast. I hate it.
I was more I enjoyed J. Jonah Jameson so much more.
100% every time.
Because it was funny.
I liked it when he went on and roasted her on her own program. Do you remember that?
Yeah. That was pretty good. But yeah, the Danicast, total throwaway. Wish it wasn't there.
Like, why? Why is it here?
Character doesn't need to exist.
Like,
I don't like it's trying to make it contemporary, like with podcasts, like we're doing right now,
Don't take this from us, Danicast. Your podcast is bad. Your podcast only lasts for 5 minutes.
If that. But yeah.
Not a fan.
Back to Aaron though. Yes, I totally agree with you about how the game should have been. That's a great idea. And too bad you weren't in the writing room. Insomniac.
You hear that, Sony? Get me into your studios.
So did you, like, when you're at the Christmas dinner at your mom's, or I guess at your place, forget that Miles is only like 15.
Weirdly. Yeah.
If you go into your parents' room, you can actually find the case file for the Prowler. So they could have done something like that.
I know.
But
like, why didn't they just do it? It would have been so much better. Although I did like...
Maybe they felt like they needed so many antagonists. Because you got Rhino, Simon, Prowler, Tinkerer.
There's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. Slash, I mean, you have the vulture fights.
Oh, that's true too.
But I kind of want to go to this other character who I really liked and I thought was underused criminally. Haley Cooper, who is the deaf girl, who should have been, and I think will be, the romance for Miles in the next game.
Yeah. I like her a lot.
I loved her, and I love that whole interaction. Miles is doing the sign language and
I thought that was really cute.
Kind of just flirting with her, And I thought she was criminally underused.
Yeah, I wish that they'd given her a whole side quest. Because she participates in one, and you can kind of just interact with her on the street every once in a while, but I kind of wish that she was, given her own, her own little section of time, which I think she will, but I liked her a lot. I agree with you. Now tell me because we're talking about secondary characters right now, I can't hold it in any longer. I want you to tell me what you feel about Genki.
He's just forgettable, man. I have nothing good or bad to say about Genki. He's just there along for the ride to make these weird, like, kind of nerdy comments at Miles.
Very forgettable.
I feel like there's basically a Genki in the new Spiderman movies, and he's more effective than this Genki.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think Ned's a lot more effective because...
Ned.
Yeah, his name is Ned. Ned is a character. And Genki is a bad joke machine.
Genki's there to wake Miles up
several times. And, he literally does, obviously, he literally does exactly what Ned does in the movies, right? He designs his app. He, makes the interface work, and he's kind of his man on the ground. He's the Watanabe to Peter, right?
Watanabe, yes.
Watanabe go do. And he's just not funny. And again, I just don't believe they're friends. They just don't seem like friends.
I agree. This is where an extended intro into this game would have helped if you built that friendship a little bit more. Because I don't think he was even in the DLC for Spider-Man. I could be wrong. It's been 3 or 4 years since I've played those. But I don't remember Genki being there at all.
Can I tell you something about
Sure.
Genki? So we talked about this in our Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse podcast, but which you should listen to. But Genki was supposed to be. It was a great podcast, but it does have a great song at the end. It was supposed to be that Genki was going to be in that movie, right? Mm-hmm. And you still see him. He's still his roommate, but he's not, a primary character. But I'll tell you this: I think Genki in Into the Spider-Verse has more personality and characterization that he does in this game. Because, things about him, he's a funny character in that movie, and he literally never says a single line. And in this game, he is just so annoying. You're climbing through vents, he's like, have you ever thought about being in Micronesia, but you're above an alligator pit, and the alligators tickle your toes? You're just like, shut up, Genki. Can I mute you? I don't want to listen to your weird comments. They're not even funny, dude.
Genki, we're not friends anymore.
We never were, Genki. Also, it doesn't explain that you met at Visions Academy. It's I feel like it could have benefited from a couple flashbacks, maybe? Because he's like your rebound friend from Finn, essentially.
Yeah, this game was just a couple hours too short.
It's also a couple hours too long. It's like the weirdest
At
game.
the same time. I totally agree with you.
And I like this game. I do. I think it's fun to play, but I just think the story fell so flat for me, and there was so much obvious potential which they should have pursued instead, that it's hard to be positive about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, because it's in that weird spot where it's a 1.5, so it's it's going to tie the two games together. It's $50, $70 if you want to get the remastered of Spider-Man on PS4. So it's kind of like this game probably. It's hard to say because the game's production quality is so high, but its content value is so low that its asking price of $50 to $70 should be more like maybe 40 and 60.
I think it should be 40 and 60 for sure.
Because the $20 for the remaster, I understand that. I'm totally for it.
That makes sense.
I did it. I did the same thing when I got my South Park Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
It came with the remastered of Stick of Truth, but it was that extra $20 I was spending. I totally understand that. And I don't know if the $50 asking price is worth maybe the 5 hours you're going to spend with this game, depending on how much you want to accomplish and do, and how many times you want to beat it. Because I know there are some people who just love this game, and I think one of the best parts of this game is the photo mode.
Oh, it's so good.
It's amazing.
It's a great photo mode.
Sony is just knocking it out of the park with this photo mode thing.
I know.
I am spending too much
tons of
time.
Pictures.
I'm spending too much time in photo mode in these games.
When can I tell you something about photo mode?
Yeah.
So when I got the Bodega cat outfit, which is an outfit where you have a cat on your back and it's in a backpack, and it'll peek out sometimes, and do a bunch of stuff. Anyways, I probably spent 30 minutes to an hour just swinging around the city trying to get the cat to do the thing where it pokes both its arms out and its head, and just taking pictures of the cat. Just taking pictures.
I would
of
do
him.
that too. So we talked about some side characters, and we talked about.
Well, let's talk about Miles a bit. I feel like we need to. I mean, I'm not sure how much there is to say about him, but how do you feel about Miles?
I love Miles as a character, and I love playing as Miles, and I personally prefer him over Peter Parker. I think he has more definition, and I love his, Black and Puerto Rican background. It's just nice to see that in a game.
Mm-hmm.
To see, like, his mom. Like, I love the scenes with his mom because it seems so authentic almost,
Yeah.
Where they're doing that half English, half Spanish speaking with each other. This shorthand of talking to each other almost.
I like that shorthand.
And it's just really nice to see that. And I felt like I like the relationship between Miles and Rio more so than Peter and Aunt May.
Yeah, I could see that.
They seem like they're friends,
talk,
Yeah, I talk.
I'm sorry.
But like Miles is just, I probably identify with Miles a little bit more too. Just, rap is a big influence in his life, especially through his uncle and his dad, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure, for a long time. But he has that exaggerated swagger, about him.
He's got some swag, man. I love it when he's like listening to music, and this guy has enough confidence to straight up dance to music no one else can hear on the street.
Yes.
I love it. Like Tobey Maguire in Spiderman 3.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest film ever made.
Also, kind of like back to the beginning of the game, because the game starts like from the start screen, you're in the subway, and then it starts with you walking out, kind of like a God of War.
Oh, yeah.
Almost. And he starts texting, and the little text bubbles show up around him.
So
I hate
cool.
that.
Oh, you don't like that? I love that.
I don't like
love
that.
Stuff like that.
It's happened too many times in too much like TV shows and
I guess that's true. I don't know. I like it.
Like, it doesn't happen too much in this game, so that's like a plus. But
put that on your box art, Sony.
It's lit. But yeah, how do you feel about Miles?
I like him. He's a good kid, I think he is smart. I like how, I will say, I really liked the end scene where he's just willing to give up everything to save his people. Like, granted, that is the character trait of Spider-Man, Peter shares that quality. So I'm not sure how much I like that about Miles as much as I just like that about the archetypal Spider-Man, that they're willing
to...
Yeah, they're willing to literally die for the people they love, even though they're young and naive. I just am really drawn to that quality.
Mm-hmm. I like, probably one of my favorite qualities or traits of Miles is how vulnerable he is as a character, because he's a kid. Yeah. And I sometimes forget that he's a kid while playing this game,
Mm-hmm.
Because you're thinking Peter Parker pretty much. Oh, I'm 25, or like as the player, you might be thinking that you're the same age. But he is sophomore in high school, right?
He's 17, so he's probably a junior or a sophomore.
Okay, so he's 17 in this game now.
He's like 12 in the movie. I don't know why. He's like 13, 12.
But, he is still just like a really young...
He's a
young
kid.
Teenager, he's a kid. So it's nice to see like... Because obviously he's really hurt finding out about his uncle.
Yeah.
And that probably wouldn't be the case if he was older, so...
More jaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I tell you something that I think would have characterized Miles better in this way, which would have helped me to feel that way about him? Is I think that he should have had more of that fun, awkward teen romance with Haley. And I think that would have...
What if they captured Haley or something?
or something. I don't even know what it needs. If he just has dates with her, that'd be kind of cute. A little dating sim in the game. Just, I just feel
that
like
would be awesome, actually.
because
you
some
have
of
to
the
do like the
so
button
fun.
inputs to do the hand signs, and like you can mess up.
That'd be cool. I would like that, and I think that'd be effective. And he shouldn't have, when he's in that, he should be awkward and a little timid,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would have been really effective in making him feel vulnerable, because that's something very relatable. Whereas it's not very relatable to like be crushed by a man's foot, because we've never done that. But we've all had that romance, and I just feel like that would have worked. Because for me, Miles, I like him on paper. He just falls flat for me.
Really?
And I don't know why. I like him. Maybe it's that I like the movie Miles a lot more. I just think he has so much more personality. This Miles is kind of like too nice. There's no sass to him. He's too awkward. Almost like he's not socially like strong, but like not in a good way. Like the fact that he can't quip. Like I get that it's a joke that like Peter can quip and he can't quip. But most of the time it just comes off as like they just didn't know what to write for Miles. So he'll like punch someone and be like, how about that? And you're just like, oh, okay. Like, but I get that like there's definitely different opinions about this specific part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't like this Miles as much because I think they did such a good job with Miles in the movie. And so to me, it's just like, he's just not, because Miles in the movie seems so smart, but he doesn't seem smart because he makes gear. He seems smart because the way he talks to people, he's clever. And I never feel like Miles is clever in this game.
I understand what you're saying.
But I understand how someone can feel differently too. That's just how I kind of felt about him.
No, I definitely see it now. You're right.
But Miles is great. I like Miles. I felt like that was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why I like Peter so much more. I just feel like he's really deeply characterized. He's really, I don't know though. I mean, they're pretty much the same character.
We also get to spend so much more time with Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, imagine the PS4 game, but you only get to play 5 hours of it,
Yeah.
You almost feel like Peter's kind of a douchebag.
It's true.
Like,
if you don't
like
spend tons of time with him. Yeah. But yeah, Plus, we've also spent time with the archetypal, standard Peter for hours and hours and hours and hours outside of the game. And I'm just I love Peter. I've always loved Peter. So
Peter has the best suits.
Yeah, he does. So much better.
Let's talk about the suits real quick in this game.
There are two good suits.
There are 2 usable suits.
Yes.
I feel like if you use any of the other suits, you're just doing a disservice to yourself and to the game.
And to Miles.
And to Miles.
Gosh. So what are the 2 suits you used? Tell me. I want to know if they're the right suits.
I use the normal suit and the bodega suit.
Yeah.
And then
obviously,
just for giggles, I put on the Spider-Verse suit with the frame rates just to see it. I was like, oh, that's fun and neat. Very awesome that they were able to make the suit have the frames of 24 frames, and the game is running at 60.
So cool.
It's very cool to see. But no, I was using the main suit and the bodega suit.
Oh, wait a second. When you say the main suit, you mean like the black and red suit?
The regular, the your suit that you make. Or I would use that's a good suit too. You get like the training suit when you're in like the hoodie and the shorts.
That's the suit I used for the entire game until I got the bodega cat.
Can we talk about some of the worst suits?
Yeah.
So, dude. I love.
We mentioned this before in the Spider-Verse podcast.
But Peter Parker leaves Miles with a Halloween costume.
Straight up.
With like training like pads on his elbows and knees.
It's so bad.
It's the worst.
It's so ugly.
It's like the mask that Miles is wearing in the beginning of the game is a better mask than the one that Peter gave him, which was supposed to be like this high-tech new suit for Miles.
It blew my mind. I was like, straight up, I know what you have, Peter. I earned it. Like, give him something. And he gives him freaking like roller derby Spider-Man costume. It's so bad.
It's terrible, dude. And then
any other, they're all bad.
Any other, like the suit that you get for doing the Aaron Davis side quest, the purple and green suit, it just makes me think of the Joker, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like he looks like a Hot Wheels Joker.
He's a Hot Wheels car.
He's a Hot Wheels car.
Straight up, dude.
And then the one that you get for doing all of the little what's the time capsules for Finn.
I'm trying to remember what that one looked like.
The suit is like,
was it the metal one?
No,
that's the one you get for. No, that's the one you get for something else.
It's the one where it's all these abstract shapes.
Maybe that is it. It's like the, what she made her stuff out of.
Yes, it's
the thought metal or whatever.
I don't like that suit. It's very ugly.
Bad suit. I mean, the black and gold one's kind of cool that you get from your neighborhood. I think that's
that
okay.
One's pretty cool.
But to me, it's just like a worse version of the Ox suit.
Exactly. Like, I'd rather just use the regular.
The anti-Ox is
like
better.
The Miles suit. Yeah, the anti-Ox suit.
And the normal Miles suit is better. And the Bodega suit is better. So yeah, it's just like...
And then I feel like if you were going to use any of the animated suits without the frame rate thing, they both look pretty bad.
They both look weird.
Like, especially the animated series suit, which makes Miles kind of look fat almost. In a weird way.
I need to look at it. It's kind of odd because I felt like, I mean, the other game had its fair share of ugly suits, of course, but I think that it also had quite a few that were very usable.
I agree. Like, I remember in Spider-Man, I was switching through suits constantly. Mm-hmm. In this game, I was sticking to one, and then after I beat the game, I got the other one.
It was a bummer, man. It's like playing an RPG, but you never find a weapon better than the one you start with. Mm-hmm. It's just like, okay, here I go, steel sword, entire game. So it's sad that way.
And talking about the time capsules thing, let's talk about the side quests real quick. I feel like there's only 3 main ones. And it's not just the side quests, it's also I'm talking about the collectibles, which turn into side quests.
The FNSM and the
yeah.
There's a bunch.
So there's things. I wrote down 3.
Okay.
The ones that stood out. The time capsules for Finn. The sound samples from Aaron. And then the postcards. So let's start with the worst one, the time capsules.
Dude, that's interesting. I think it's not nearly as bad as Aaron's. I hate Aaron's.
Really?
Just because... Okay, but we'll talk about the postcards. I'll get to that. Because it's probably a me thing. But,
No, let's start with sound samples. Let me hear it.
So, I love the idea of it. I think it's so cool. And I love the idea that, Jefferson and Aaron were, like, running around New York making beats out of the city. Like, that's the coolest idea. Plus, like, the beat you make at the end is super cool.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It was the most finicky thing in the world trying to get the sounds to work. And the pigeon thing, I had to look that crap up. Did you know to do the pigeon thing?
I don't remember the pigeon.
So you have to record a bunch of pigeons in the park. And you have to use your invisibility to get close to them.
No. I figured that out.
I did not. I was so baffled. I was like, because if you get within like 10 feet, they just go away. Mm-hmm. And like, even when you're pretty darn close to them, it says like, you're too far. Anyways, I was very mad. Anyways, but that sort of thing happened a bunch where like, I would know what I'm looking for, but I wouldn't be in the exact right position to get it.
That the game wanted you to be in. Yeah, that makes sense.
But they're cool, and I like the way it culminates. And I like the way that it tells the story between Jefferson and Aaron.
Yeah.
But I wish you got to hear their song. I wish that you found the masters that Jefferson had. Again, I just wish the game was about Jefferson and Aaron.
Yes, keep it close to the family and not so much all these random characters like the Danicast.
The Danicast, the Tinkerer. So I agree with you. I mean, I do like it. I just found it very frustrating. Probably because there's like 9, I probably found 3 of them to be really frustrating.
Yeah.
Where like I would just be walking around Times Square trying to get the stupid sign to work. I know it's the sign, but I can't get it to work, so I'm slowly walking back and forth. Anyways, so that was the only reason I didn't like it.
Yeah.
What did you think, though? I think you're a little bit more hot on it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was very cool. I didn't have any problems with finding these things. There were only the first one. The very first one at the docks.
the buoy?
Yeah, because I had no idea what I was looking for.
The middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's the only one that I had trouble with, but the rest of it was fine. And like you said, I love how it was telling the story of Jefferson and Aaron.
Yeah, Jefferson and Aaron's story is great.
It was
like a whole game.
This one was too short compared to the time capsule one, which had like 50 or 80, maybe 1,000. I don't remember. For some reason, these stupid kids like were putting these stupid knickknacks all over the city.
These guys were freaking free climbers. They were everywhere.
Something.
There were probably 15 of them.
The time capsule that matters most is the end game one, and they probably should have just stuck with that one. You know what I'm saying? The award that they get for the science fair. They probably should have just kept it to that one. Or maybe just kept it in Harlem where it made sense. And they were like all over like the top of skyscrapers. It was very weird. And underneath overpasses.
I know. There was one where it's like inside of a rock formation where homeless people sleep and do drugs. What were they doing? It was weird.
So I have nothing to say about the time capsule one, really.
Can I tell you what I liked about it?
Sure.
I liked that it didn't make me do anything, and there was no like little cutscene that played. Purely just because when I was doing there's another one that you do with Underground where you like find all their stashes, and you have to watch like a little 5-second cutscene every time you do it, but there's like 40 of them. Anyway, so I was very grateful that the stupid time capsules, you just pick them up and walk away.
Yeah, there are a lot of like little time wasters in this game.
There are a lot. But the thing is, I will say this for this game. The combat, much better. The way it looks is beautiful. And even though some of the collectibles are a little annoying, they're so much better than the last game. Because the last game, like this game had, I think, 15 time capsules. The last game had like 100 backpacks. It was ridiculous. And like you had to take 100 pictures and you had to do like 100 of this and 100 of that, and you had to do this stupid puzzle. I don't know how, like, why did I put myself through that?
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have to do it twice.
Yeah, I know.
And then the last one is the in-game postcards.
So good.
That you get from your mom / from your dad. And they were definitely the most touching part of the game for me.
Easily.
It definitely made me resonate with Miles and Jefferson so much more. The only downside to this whole part of the game is the very end, because that when they're all playing basketball, it looks horrible. It looks
weird,
ugly.
It was like an afterthought. I don't know why they
like
didn't put a
I
little
wish
more
they
work into
didn't
it.
just don't show me anything. Maybe just show the picture.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Like with them just play basketball, I was like, this looks wrong.
Looks weird.
Like they all are acting like strangers. Like they don't know each other.
No, you're right. It's weird.
But no, the listening to Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president,
yes,
was by far the best part of the game.
Easily. And now, just imagine if that was the culmination of the entire game being about them.
Wow. Would have been amazing. Probably would have been my favorite game of the PS5 so far, if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, it probably could be. I think that it would have been a lot more effective. I mean, granted, I'm kicking a dead horse, or you're beating a dead horse. But it was like too little too late almost. Because that's when I started to care about Miles as a character.
At the very
Because that's when he starts being a character, is when it's his relationship with his dad and his mom, Like that is that's Miles. So that's why Into the Spider-Verse is all about his dad and his uncle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are important because that's who Miles is.
Yeah.
Anyways, says the guy who's never even read a Miles comic book, so he doesn't actually know anything about Miles.
That's okay.
It's fine. But yeah, I'm glad we agree on that. The postcards was the best.
Yeah.
Is, you know, it characterized him perfectly. That's who Miles is.
Yeah, I agree. I guess the only other way I can feel like we can talk about the game is running through the boss fights really quick.
I think that's a good way to kind of start wrapping things up. Put us in the mode for fast ones.
So, I hate it when games make you fight a boss more than once.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So,
like recurring bosses.
Not this, like, I'm fine if it's the same boss, but if it's the exact same fight.
Oh, like Rhino?
There are three Rhino fights?
I think there's at least 2.
Maybe 2. I feel like there's one boss fight that is basically a Rhino fight. I feel like there's 3 Rhino fights somewhere.
I think there is. I think there might be.
I could be thinking of another game, though. But you fight him in the very beginning, and then you do the exact same fight with Finn. Like, you and Finn are trying to escape Roxxon after Rhino captures you. And he's Red Rhino now.
Yes, he is.
And how did you like... I feel like the second fight is better than the first because now you have all your skills and it's definitely more fleshed out because you have other enemies with you. And that's the game I was thinking about. I'm thinking about Arkham Asylum. Oh. Because you have to fight Bane like 30 times in that game.
Yeah.
In various forms. But that reminded me of... Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what was wrong with my game, but when I was fighting him the second time, you like disable his armor after you throw a bunch of stuff at him, and then you're supposed to use Venom strikes on him. But for some reason, whenever I used Venom Strike, it would just hit someone else. It was super annoying.
I know what you're talking about.
It would take forever because I would try to hit him and it would just like hit some random dude who's like across the room. So Miles will like pounce through the air and he's in the air for like 3 seconds before he hits someone. Yeah. So it was, you know, it was okay.
It was just another Rhino fight, honestly.
But I liked the Tinkerer boss fight at the end. I thought it was actually good because it's a little challenging.
Hold your horses. You're skipping Aaron Davis, the Prowler.
I like that one too. Although, tell me, did you think it... Because I think we said enough about Rhino. Rhino, like, why is he in these games so much?
Yeah,
I do not care about Rhino.
He was already in the first game. Why isn't he be in this one, too?
Yeah, he's already, like, a big villain in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
But, tell me, how do you feel about the Prowler fight?
I liked it a lot, honestly. I like the setting of it being in his, like, little hideout in the subway. And, I thought it was... Like, it wasn't crazy or anything, but it was just a nice fight, and it was nice to look at. You know, he goes invisible and comes at you with a new attack, and you have to just figure out how to dodge this next one, and then he chains them together. So it just kept you more engaged. I wasn't feeling like I was waiting for someone to run into a wall and get staggered, and then I would pounce on him or something.
Yeah.
And
it was a well-structured boss fight.
The only problem I think I had with it was the clone part because it was too easy.
Yeah,
like the clone thing was just too much. But
I liked the fight in general was very, very easy.
This game is very easy,
but it's an easy game. Like it's not hard. But I agree with you. I mean, I thought it was good. I like that it's very different from the Rhino fight. It's a little bit similar to the Tinkerer.
Yeah,
but I thought it was good. You know,
and it has more of a story relevance and a personal relevance with Miles because Aaron is just trying to protect Miles from Roxxon. So he imprisons him pretty much. And apparently it's not a very good jail cell because Miles just breaks out.
That's why Aaron goes to prison at the end so he can figure out how to make a good jail.
Yes.
No, I agree. I mean, it's interesting, you know? It's almost like I wish it was harder for Miles. But it was good. I thought it was good. Like, I didn't have a huge amount of problems with it, but maybe I wish it was a little more difficult, or like maybe he had to use his invisibility because he's not straight up strong enough otherwise. I don't know. It was good though.
And
it was good.
This is the part where I agree with you with the Spider-Verse Miles being a better character or more nuanced character, deeper, more complex. Because Miles beats Aaron in the boss fight, and he's like, I'm going to be a good guy and save my people. And Aaron's like, no, I'm trying to protect you. He's like, and Miles is like, goodbye, and he leaves.
Yeah.
And that's just so generic.
It's so just like boop boop, like one or the other. There's no struggle. There's no in between. It's like Miles fun to see a brave character, but
Miles had no problem. Obviously, with what was the right choice made sense, but just the way it was delivered and executed was a little, I don't know, melodramatic maybe.
And in this, like, Uncle Aaron is like so evil.
Yeah, he's not like in the Spider-Verse where he's trying to like have a relationship with Miles still.
Yeah, and he like does his job, but it's his job,
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because it's like, how evil do you need to be to like, I don't know, it's like, dude, he's going to blow up the city.
Yeah.
Like,
help him.
You have to do something. Like, I feel like you have to be a pretty bad person to, I don't know. I felt like, I don't know. That was just my impression. I was like, this Uncle Aaron is like straight up just not a good person.
I agree.
He's not nuanced. He's just like a bad person. So, and like granted at the end, he like just decides to change and then he's fine.
Because
but it was just interesting.
Money anymore.
That's right. But I was like, you're just like a bad person, dude. Anyways, so I guess that was my letdown. It was just a lack of nuance. The fight's too easy and the moral decisions are too easy too.
Yeah.
But now I want you to tell me.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Tinkerer? Unless you have something else to add.
No, nothing to add about Aaron. I was going to go to the Tinkerer fight. And I really like this fight.
It's a great fight.
It's the best fight, I think, in the game.
Easily.
And yeah, it was just a very fun. Electric comes to mind.
Ooh, spicy. I like that electric.
Very chaotic. And it was cool just kind of beating up on the Tinkerer from from one side of the room to the next and chasing her.
It's really cool.
They did a really good job with this boss fight.
I think the whole ending, once you get to that building, once you get to Roxxon Plaza on, is masterful.
Yeah.
And because I went from feeling nothing about what Miles was doing to feeling like emotional when she takes him into the air and she's like, it's okay. And she just
that's a great
it's very powerful
scene, yeah.
Even though I don't care about Finn at all.
No, it's that point where I totally agree with you. Like, I didn't feel it too much during the boss fight, but when you two jump out of the building and she says, I'm sorry, and Miles says it's okay, and takes the fall for her. Yeah, from that point on, it's a beautiful cinematography and beautiful scenery and a beautiful message of sacrifice. And
they do such a good job.
They do a really good job. And
I just wonder, like, I wish that they'd been able to figure out the characters. If they'd just been able to figure out Finn and Miles together. Before that, think about how much more powerful it could have been. And it was already really great. It just again makes me think, like, man, they could have done something more with it. But I thought the ending was awesome.
Yeah. And then, having her fly you up with her new form technology or whatever, her boots,
her super boots,
exploding like a star, pretty much.
I know.
It's very sad, and Miles has to wake up with that realization after falling. Like his mom shows up, and all of your closest confidants pretty much are around you. The people that you've been helping out throughout the whole game, from the people from Feast, the guy from the construction buildings and whatnot.
The guy who owns the bodega.
Yeah, exactly. They're all there,
Teo.
and they're gonna like keep your identity because obviously you don't have a mask on right now.
I love that. I love when they're all like go up to the police or like the journalist and like stop her, and I love that.
Yeah. Very Spider-Man 2 vibes when Peter's in the train and
and they
Doc
like all
Ock.
carry him.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Joey Diaz is in that scene. He's a very funny comedian.
There you go.
But that kind of wraps up for the story.
Wait.
Oh, please.
I have something that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Did it make sense to you that Finn is able to like kill Miles repeatedly? Because so there are several times where she like literally brings him to the brink of death. And I'm like, straight up, you were just one of the underground. Like, she doesn't have special gear. She has the normal boots, the normal fists, and a sword. Like everyone else you fight.
Maybe
and this
it's
chick,
just the knowing that it's Finn is defeating Miles.
He's not punching hard? I don't know. It's just like
He
really
can't hit
weird.
a girl.
I mean, like straight up, this dude is like dropped from buildings and he's fine. And like Rhino tries to kill him and he's fine. But the second that like, it's just weird. I thought it odd that Finn was able to overcome him so easily when he's literally Spider-Man and she's just a girl with like the same weapons that all of her minions have. I don't know. Did you feel that way? I remember thinking like,
no,
she's like, I could kill you right now. And I'm like, no, you couldn't. He's Spider-Man.
Yeah. I felt that throughout playing it. And yeah, it just didn't make sense for the characters. Because she is just a teenage girl who has fancy gear like everyone else. So yeah, I agree. It's just,
I mean, he plows through hundreds of these people, and he's fine.
Who are like
just like
10 times her size.
Literally, actually 10 times her size. And then Finn, I don't know, it's an impossible challenge to overcome. But we're probably heading long. I don't know how long we've been recording.
Like an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's not actually too long.
No.
Our wives can wait another hour. Just kidding.
I think it reflects the game and how much we have to say about it, honestly. And there is not too much to say about this game. It's not very deep. It is just that bridge between two games. And it's kind of just a means to an end. Because otherwise, Spider-Man 2 wouldn't make any sense.
Yes. Although, I think it could have been so much more.
It could have been.
So much more. They were close.
I don't think there's anything else to say about the story.
No. I don't have anything, at least.
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind. That side quest, fighting the two vultures, was pretty neat and fun.
That was good.
But then again, you are just doing the boss fights from the first game again. But it was a cool way of showing like Spider-Man's first encounter with Vulture and like him being attacked at his school. That's what it was, right? It was him fighting his like first villain, right?
I believe it. Yeah, it was like his first day at college, and he has to fight Vulture.
And then like Vulture has like his sidekick or whatever.
Yeah, another Vulture.
Yeah.
It was good. I thought it was fun.
And the best part of that is Spider-Man talking over it.
He's just making dumb jokes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love Peter. He's just funny. He's less funny in this game than he is in his own game, but he's still really funny.
Yeah. And I wonder, we'll talk about it at the end. I have a couple questions for you, but I think you might have a few fast ones for me.
I do. Lightning quick. Let me get to them real quick here. We're doing this on computer, so I have mine typed down a Word document.
Oh, fancy you.
I am the future. All right, Chris, you ready?
Are you sure you're not working for Roxxon?
I am Simon Krieger. We're here for you. What does he say? That's what they say, I think. We're here for you. Anyways, tell me, Miles or Peter?
Miles.
Old Peter or new Peter? I don't know what I meant.
I know.
Oh, I
what
meant
you,
the faces.
Yeah, I know what you. I know what you mean. I'm just gonna live with new Peter and
how
learn
interesting.
to grow and
That
love.
is what a mature response. All right, Doc Ock or the Tinkerer,
Doc Ock.
a good villain or a bad villain? Okay. Movie Uncle Aaron or game Uncle Aaron?
Movie Uncle Aaron.
Venom powers or invisibility?
Venom powers.
Venom or being able to jump really high?
Venom powers.
To platinum or not to platinum?
To platinum always.
Interesting. Peter in this game or Peter in the other game?
The same thing, right? No, maybe not. Definitely Peter in the last game.
He's awesome. Movie Miles or Game Miles?
Movie Miles.
Roxxon or the Silver Folks?
I'm gonna go with Roxxon, honestly.
The Underground or the Mask Gang? Whose names I forgot.
They're called
Martin Lee's gang.
Yeah.
The Watanabe clan. No.
Oh my gosh, what are they called? They're called
I
something.
can't remember. Like the Maja family is another one though. I can't remember.
Here. This is gonna bug me if we don't.
You have to look it up now. We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
The Demons.
The Demons, thank you.
That's right.
The Demons.
Demons are the Underground.
Demons.
Underground or a pile of ants on your doorstep.
A pile of ants on my doorstep.
There we go. I agree with that. And those are my fast ones. They went by quick.
Those were very quick.
If
Under
you
a
blinked,
minute?
you might have missed them. Under a minute, that's right.
Maybe 2 minutes.
But do you have fast ones for me? A couple slow balls?
I don't. I have slow
quick
balls
pitch?
for you. I don't have any fast ones.
I'm excited.
We've basically already discussed what we would change about this game, which was one of my questions. And I 100% agree with you that it should have just been about Miles and Aaron and Rio and Jefferson and their relationship together. And Miles looking for the Prowler through Jefferson's notes, basically.
It
would have made it such like a cool, like even like a junior detective game almost. You know,
that would have been awesome.
it would have been really cool. But there's one little nugget we need to discuss, and it's the end credit scene at Oscorp.
Oh yeah, it's kind of just like an extension
of the
credits
previous
the other
one.
movie.
But I feel like we get Norman looking like Robert Redford, yelling at Kurt Connors, who will become the Lizard.
Lizzie boy.
And again, Harry's in the vat.
Mm-hmm.
He could be Goblin. He could be Venom.
He's got to be Venom.
He's got to be.
I mean, come on. It's like, those are symbiotes, right? It's got to be Venom.
But talk about a letdown of a end credit scene. Right?
It's just like the other half of the end credit scene.
It's like 5 minutes later, Norman came back in just to yell at Kurt.
For real, though. It's like, yeah, we got that this was going to happen. We understood that.
Do you think
Interesting.
Think Norman's going to be Goblin? And he's just going to be like this old farty Goblin?
Here's the thing. What if I don't know. Maybe he's just not going to even be a villain besides just being a douchebag.
I would love to see a Goblin in these games.
The thing is, would it be a Goblin like in Spider-Verse, or would it be a Goblin like we know, like a Power Ranger?
It would have to be a Power Ranger.
I love Power Ranger Goblin.
Me too.
Can we just replace the guy who's playing Norman now and just get Willem Dafoe back?
Right. Or like, are they going to do a
love Willem Dafoe.
Hobgoblin at all?
Oh, I feel like Hobgoblin is always Harry though, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
And so it can't be Harry because Harry has to be Venom. There's no way. Could he be Carnage? And then
I feel
Peter
like
somehow
Carnage
gets
will
Venom?
be in the second game.
That would make sense. Heck, I don't know.
But that goes into my question. What would you like to see from the next Spider-Man game?
Oh,
And
I
maybe
don't
even
know.
beyond that.
So I think the next Spider-Man game is going to be split down the middle. I think you're going to play as Miles for half of it, and I think you're going to play as Peter for half of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
no co-op?
That's what you could do co-op. That might be cool. Games as a service. But
that could be
I think that
annoying though.
It could be. I'd rather just be a single player thing, but half the story is Miles and half the story is Peter.
What if Peter dies halfway through?
I would cry.
What if Miles dies halfway through?
I would cry a little.
But I feel like, because Spider-Man is technically older, he's an older Spider-Man. And Miles, we just had basically, he's finally coming to his own in this game.
Yeah. He's a full-fledged Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Peter either needs to die, which would make me sad.
What if... What if one of the Spider-Mans turns into Venom?
That's what I was saying, yeah. Because I think that Peter will need to get Venom to fight Carnage, who Harry will be, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then even if he defeats Carnage at the end, then Miles still has to kill Peter to save him from Venom, right?
Yeah.
I could see something like that, and I think that'd be cool, which would pretty much just be like Spider-Man 3, but, cohesive and a little bit better.
Oh, I forgot Sandman hasn't been shown in this game yet either. Oh, man.
That'd be interesting if we had Sandman, too. I don't know, because we're obviously going to get the Lizard, because it talked about Kirk Connors. We may get some form of Green Goblin, because Norman is going to be
the
probably
Osborns
more
are
main
just there,
antagonist. Yeah, and we're probably going to get either Venom or Carnage. And if we get Venom or Carnage, then Peter usually ends up having some form of symbiote. And then... So there's just a lot. There's a lot going on.
It would be kind of cool if they could just bring up that Harry had this sister who turns into a Green Goblin.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I would dig that. A female Green Goblin.
Do you want more Mary Jane stealth sections?
No.
I'm excited
but I
for
want
more
more
MJ,
Mary
though.
Jane.
I like MJ and Peter.
Yeah.
I like them together a lot. And I want more Watanabe. But doesn't something happen to her in the DLC?
I feel like she gets shot, maybe.
I think she goes to jail because she's like on a murder rampage.
Oh, you're right.
Doesn't she go and like kill the Maggia family?
I think so. That sounds right.
Well, that makes me sad because I really like her. I think she's super funny. I thought she was a great character.
No, she was a really good character. I will say that the whole Spider Cop was a terrible joke.
Dude, it was an awesome joke. I loved Spider Cop. I'm Spider Cop. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
Oh my god.
This is the thing. Peter speaks to me. I love Peter. And I've always related to Peter like a ton. So I don't know.
Spider Cop was good the first time.
It was good every time, baby.
No.
Spider Cop was funny the 10th time. It was funny the 20th time.
Oh my gosh.
I love Spider Cop.
But that's all I got for this episode.
You just don't want to talk to me anymore now that you know I like Spider Cop.
And this will be our last podcast that we're recording. So
ever. I'm going to burn the futon now.
Would you rather play this game again or Spider-Man PS4 again?
I don't want to play any Spider-Man game for a year, but
I agree.
I would probably play the original one again. Just because I like it more,
Yeah.
Even though this is shorter and I can make it end faster. But I'd play the original again.
Okay.
What about you? What would you do?
I mean, I'd probably play through the PS4 game again, but if I had to choose between which game I'd rather play, it'd probably be the Miles Morales.
It'd be weird going back to the old one without Venom powers, I think.
Well, it's like the Venom powers, but also the Spider-Man has no character in his movement. Miles has so much character in how he moves.
There's so much nuance to the way that he moves and how it's different from Peter. So I could see that.
Yeah.
It's a visual feast.
Yes.
Just like this is a audio feast.
Feed me.
Feed us. Feed our Patreon.
But that's all I got for this episode. Do you have any closing remarks? Any questions?
No, not really. Just that this is a good game. If we sounded harsh, we probably didn't mean to come up as harsh as we did. I feel like it's one of those situations like Killzone where it's like it just had so
Yeah.
much potential. It could have been better, but it was good. It was
Of
good.
all
Play it
of
if you
all
like Spider-Man.
the PS5 games that you could get at the time, you had Spider-Man, you had Sackboy, Bugsnax, Demon Souls, The Pathless. I would throw in you got Black Ops Cold War in there, but this is like right in the middle of those games, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that well, there's a thing. Interestingly enough, I think Bugsnax, I think that Pathless, I think that Demon Souls,
They're all better games.
that Astros are all better games.
I agree.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's just that Spider-Man formula isn't as great as we thought it was the first time.
I think it's the story, dude. I think that I think it's a story thing. I think it's the missed opportunity and the lack of characterization. I just think they did a better job giving Peter just a really fleshed out story.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? I'm sure that people will disagree with us vehemently. So
yeah,
but,
it could just be a time thing where the game is too short but too long at the same time for what it is.
And it could be that we just played Spider-Man a year ago and it feels too soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm serious. It could have used that 2 or 3 hours extra in the intro.
I think so. It would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, and thanks to everyone who listened, who got this far.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
For all you cool cats, you might get a little bonus. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Something extra on the side.
A little nugget. Until next time.
Until next time. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.